Hey guys, we're jumping over into Genesis chapter 25 today as we continue our slow crawl through Genesis that's been going on since like March. So as we keep going through this, we're finally going to transition from Abraham to Isaac. So let's look at verse 1 in Genesis 25. It says, Abraham married another wife whose name was Keturah. Now, I'm not going to continue reading all the way down through this. I do want to bring your attention to one of the sons that it mentions that she gave birth to, a gentleman named Midian. Now, Midian, as I looked into this, will give rise to the Midianites. Now, you may say, how is any of this connected? Well, the Bible weaves quite a tale as it goes through. So, Midian, who gave rise to the group of people known as the Midianites, that is where Moses in the book of Exodus will flee. He will flee to the land of Midian. And his father-in-law, Jethro, who also knows and worships the Lord, is a Midianite himself. And so all of these boys here learned about the worship of God from their father, Abraham. And it's apparent that Midian carried that with him. And that was passed down to the point that when Moses shows up after running away from Egypt and fleeing, he finds people that worship the Lord. So we think of Abraham all the time as giving rise to the nation of Israel. True. But he also gave rise to some other nations and other peoples as well. We'll go on down another generation and we'll see the Edomites, the descendants of Esau. We'll talk about here the Ishmaelites are talked about in Genesis 25. We won't read through all of their lineage and all of the genealogy, but Abraham gave rise to them. So Abraham gave rise to the Israelites, who are the people of promise for the promised land. But there's also all of these other people groups that he gave rise to, two of which being the Ishmaelites and the Midianites. So Abraham was prolific, to say the least, in his descendants becoming different groups of reasonably powerful people. I mean, the Israelites will eventually become a very strong local power there in their area, as will the Ishmaelites, the Midianites, the Edomites. So they're all going to flow down through this. So I think it's very interesting to look at that. Look at verse 5 and 6 right quick. It says, Abraham gave everything he owned to his son Isaac. Before he died, he gave gifts to his sons of his concubines and sent them off to a land in the east away from Isaac. So he sends them away for one sole purpose. Isaac needs to be the one that stays in the promised land. This is Isaac's promise. He is the son of Sarah, the promised child that they had waited on. So he sends him into the promised land, but sends everybody else away. Now, also in this, it's not just material, right? He said gave everything he owned to his son Isaac. So he didn't just give him the material possessions, he also gave him spiritual possessions. That was part of this as well. So not only did he receive all of Abraham's wealth, he also receives Abraham's promise. It came from God to Abraham to Isaac. The covenant is now going to be Isaac's. And we'll pick up that idea tomorrow. You guys be blessed. See you soon.